Hi, I'm Dr. Varudhini Kankipati and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to talk about depression. And I won't go into the minute details of depression, but I want this video to be something like a checklist for people to understand if they are maybe going through a form of depression or that they are going through depression in and itself. So let's start with the first basic parameter about our mental health, which is an indicator for everything, which is your sleeping, your eating, and your physical movement or exercise. So one of the things you will notice is if you're going through depression, these three things are off track a bit. Either one or all would be off track. And what do I mean by that? Sleep. When your sleep is disturbed, or you're not able to sleep, or you're sleeping too much, is an indicator that something's off. Second is you're either eating too much or eating too less, no appetite at all. And the third is you don't feel like exercising, you don't feel like even physically moving your body. Now these are the physical manifestations of depression. The second part of this would be the emotional, what is going on in your mind that is indicators for depression. The first thing you'll notice is that you don't really want to talk to people. You don't want to go out. Things that you were interesting to you don't cease to be interesting. Like for example, you liked going on hikes, you liked traveling, or you liked trying out different restaurants and the food in different restaurants. But now you don't have any interest for it. Nothing interests you. And you feel like the only thing you really want to do or you have the energy for is to just be alone and be in your bedroom. That feels like heaven for you. If this is what is happening and you know that this is not your normal way of functioning, it is a good indicator. Another one is, and this is a common misconception, that people think that depression is only about a sad feeling. It actually isn't. It's not always about sadness. Depression can manifest as a void, an emptiness, or a numbness. You don't feel anything, nothing, you don't feel happiness, or you don't feel an excitement, or you don't feel disappointment, or though you are lacking that range of emotions that make you feel like I'm experiencing life. And that numbness can feel extremely uncomfortable, and you start to do things to just get some feeling in you. You either scream at people, or sometimes you even revert to self-harm just because you want to feel something and not have this feeling of emptiness and vacuum. Some people describe depression as a black hole. And what that means, and it really is sad to feel these a state of your life where you feel like it's not you. You know that you're not able to live life. You want to, but you're just not able to. And believe me, it's not your fault. It isn't something you did, or that you got lazy, or that you are giving up on yourself. I completely understand this as a person struggling inside for various reasons, and I'll come to that. But you know that you're not feeling yourself. Depression can also manifest itself as anger. If you've noticed that emotionally you're doing okay, but then suddenly nowadays everything frustrates you, everything feels irritable, and you feel like you don't have tolerance to things, and you see that your anger or your rage has gone up, you need to stop to think, okay, there is something going on with me. These things are the emotional feelings that you will be feeling if you're going through depression. So we've covered the physical, we covered the emotional. I'm going to now move on to the thinking patterns. A part of the thinking pattern in depression is that you start to have self-deprecating thoughts, like you feel like I'm a failure, I'm not good enough. I'm not doing a good enough job. My parents, they are not proud enough. I should have done this. And then people would respect me a little bit more. When you constantly start having self-deprecating thoughts, and if you look at those thoughts, They're very common to feeling like a failure, you're feeling worthless, you're feeling your life is pointless, that nothing good is going to happen to you, that you start to think very negatively about things. Like for a small thing is like your boss came around and didn't say hi to you, and then you start thinking, oh, my boss didn't even say hi to me. Is that because he doesn't think I'm important, or that I didn't do a good enough job? Is something wrong with me? When you start to interpret things as personally you failing in something, that's a good measure for you to think back and say, wait, have I gotten very self-deprecating in the way I'm looking at life and the way I'm viewing things? So these are the 3 indicators: physically, emotionally, and mentally, cognitively. Are the indicators for you. This is a checklist. If any of these are resonating with you, go back a little bit more, consult a counselor so that the counselor can help you to really find out if you have clinical depression, what form of clinical depression, or it could be just a state or a state of life where it was triggered by certain events. Now, the causes of depression. Causes of depression can be so many. It can be a simple thing like a change in weather. There are people who have depressive symptoms because of weather, cold weather, when it's gloomy and you feel like the whole life feels a little down. That can trigger depression. There is the genetic component. If you have a family history of depression, then yes, it is something you need to be mindful of. The third one is if you've had some life experiences that have been very traumatic. And what I mean is something like a death of a near and dear one, or your house got burnt down, or you lost money, or it could be a big failure that happens at work. Any of these things, or a very embarrassing thing happened to you. Any of these things also can trigger depression. Divorce is another one. I'm sorry. As you can see, as I'm saying, I'm remembering more things that can trigger depression. So there could be so many reasons as to why the depression has been triggered. More than concentrating on why on your own, first try and seek out whether you do see that you have the symptoms of depression. And second is go to the professional, because the professional will help you to really clarify a lot of things for you. And you can feel free to ask your therapist or psychiatrist about what you are going through. The big problem I have, and why I'm saying please go and seek professional help, do not go onto Google. Do not go and ask a friend randomly about these questions, because when you go in and get this unlimited information, you don't really know how to filter what is for you and what isn't. And because we are worried and we look at things, we tend to get more worried the more we read, and we start to assume a lot of things which might not actually be in our case. So please refrain from doing your own research. Instead, go directly to a professional, because they will help you navigate this. Thank you so much, guys. And if any of you do feel like you're going through depression, please remember you're not alone, and there's so much support out there that we can all help each other to try and find out how to help ourselves, okay? So if you did like what I shared, please do like, share, and subscribe. Thank you, guys, and take care. Bye.